Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Talks. I'm your host, Kiran. I'm a leadership communication coach. This is our very first episode of Leadership Talks. Each week on Leadership Talks, we will be inviting leaders and emerging leaders to share their stories, their challenges, and their strategies on how they manage their teams and organizations. Today, I have the privilege of having my very first guest, Mr. Asish Datta, COO CFO for Congruent Info-Tech. Let me invite Mr. Asish Datta to share the screen with me today.
Hi, Kiran.
Hi, Ashish. Thank you very much for being part of Leadership Talks. Welcome on the very first episode of it.
Thank you so much. I'm indeed very happy to be here, very excited. Little tense also. What kind of difficult question will come my way? Let's see.
We will have lots of fun because the purpose of this talk show and podcast is that we can share our experiences and stories and inspire other leaders and emerging leaders on their growth journey. So
Right.
thank you for taking this opportunity to share this stage with me and share your thoughts with all of us.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Okay, Ashish, you've been in the industry for over 3 decades. You've taken roles both as in organizations, in different kinds of leadership positions in the last 20 years. And currently, you are COO, CFO with Congruent Info-Tech, which is in the IT industry. So let me ask you the very first question. We have been going through a very turbulent time for the last year and a half. So, Ashish, what has been your self-leadership style that you have been using to manage your team, your organization, to go through this pandemic?
Well, thank you, Kiran. That's a very interesting question. Each leader has their own styles, I think, and there's a dominant style. I would say my dominant style is driving.
Okay.
I am very action oriented. I am pretty clear and quick in my decision taking. And I am fact based and clearly want and drive everything to results. Now, I'd like to add here from my side is that when we talk of the leadership style, so the dominant style, let's say I'm driving, it is generally said that the driving style is somebody who is a little bit less tolerant, maybe, listens a little, perhaps. Maybe I am that, but I can tell you what is that I drive towards. I am driving. I'm a driving leader. A leader is to drive to something. So what I drive to is profitable growth.
Okay.
And yeah, if anything comes in the way, I don't listen to that. But in whatever needs to be done for profitable growth, and what do I mean by profitable growth from my side? What I drive towards, what my style is driving towards that growth is one is, of course, the customers. I need to provide quality solutions. And only if I give the best solutions, I get repeat business in IT. And that's my key. So I will drive to whatever extent to get that. But I also know that to be able to be in the IT industry and to get the solution, I need to also build my human capital, which are my employees. I
Absolutely.
need to get my employees in place, give them what they need, give them the encouragement, the training to give me the results because they are the people who are my inside sales guy. Then only I can derive quality. So that's my second. And of course, to do that, you have to drive the company to get more reserves, more profits, more cash reserves, and only you can drive it. So I am driving for the profitable growth. So when it's about not listening and less tolerant, I am not tolerant or listening who comes in the way to meet the growth. But if you look at the three aspects of driving, I'm very focused and I'll do what is necessary for that. Now, that's my style. Has my style changed because of the situation?
Absolutely.
A very
Has it-
relevant question.
Yeah.
It's definitely a difficult situation everybody is going through. Human lives are affected, economy is affected. Indeed, a very sad situation. I would say even that from an industry perspective, the driving goals doesn't change. It still remains for me. Getting the right
Absolutely.
quality customers, this. But the way I get to that, my action plan, my strategies have to definitely become more understanding of the change situation, be more adaptive. So that's what I think the organization is moving towards, because the situation we are facing today is a situation which is here to stay. I mean, even if you look forward, it's going to be kind of a remote on-site working, a staggered or a hybrid methodology that we're going to follow. So my goals have not changed. I'm still a driving style, but I have adopted my action plan to get to that. That's what I would say as what the change has come to me in terms of the pandemic.
So I definitely agree with you that in the current style, being an adaptive leader is going to make sure that you are able to steer your organization, your teams in both the survival mode as well as into the growth mode, which will follow. So coming from there, I mean, profitable growth has always been what you just said, your goal. But the pandemic has thrown leaders and organizations into the deep end. So, what have been the struggles as a leader of your organization that you have faced in the last year and a half?
Right. I think there are primarily three main challenges. There are many. The pandemic, unfortunately, just thrown at us. We were not prepared.
No,
It happened
absolutely.
last year. That's a fact. So we had to deal with it. So I think there are many challenges for leaders, but I think there were three.
Hmm.
First was our mindset. Our mindset was more focused. We could not have ever imagined that there'll be an empty office of so many floors, everybody working from different locations, and we
Yeah.
have to still drive towards that profitable growth.
Mm.
Correct? So that was the mindset. How can we really do it? So we had to change for to struggle what you call that fixed and growth mindset. From that perspective, we had to change. Yes, this is possible. That's a great challenge that we faced.
Absolutely. Hmm.
Second, all leaders know relationship building is very important. That's the key to it.
Hmm.
But then we were more used to building relationship with physically people around. We didn't
Absolutely.
know how to build relationship in an empty office, people sitting alone in different places. How do we build relationship
That
then?
has
How
actually
do we
been the
build
biggest
remote
challenge, I
relationship?
would say, right, Ashish? That
Yeah,
has
yeah,
actually been.
absolutely. We didn't
Mm.
know. We had to do, and that was the second one. And of course, the third one was how do we collaborate? Because that's very key for the IT industry to
Mm.
collaborate and work. So I think
Mm.
these were the three main challenges that came our way, and we had to deal with that.
So now that you've stated your challenges, one is the mindset that had to change. I mean, as leaders, we want to be having a growth mindset in order to run our organizations. We have to be open. We have to have an abundance mindset. We have to have,
Right.
we want to be having people who are self-driven. So that is something that leadership is all about. Being a leader who is able to get other leaders to take charge of their projects, their teams, and move forward from there. So, mindset, yes, that I think the whole pandemic threw us into the deep end, but fixed mindset to growth mindset, yes, on terms of the physical constraints that were there. But I agree about you in terms of the relationship and collaboration. So, Ashish, in your organization, especially in IT, which is people have this misbelief that it can be done remotely and has been done remotely. What were your strategies that you used in your organization to help your teams, your organization, both to survive as well as grow, both for collaboration as well as relationship building? What were your strategies on that end?
So I would answer this question in three parts.
Okay.
The first part I would say is, and that's my personal belief of that, in our life, everything depends on our life experiences.
Right.
Life pushes us forward, it never pushes you back. You have to survive, you have to fight it. So, to us, the leaders, there was no option. We had to fight the situation, correct? We had to do that. So, that's something that we had to. And when you fight, when you start looking to do, but you have to achieve your goals, you become more innovative. You look for different ways how to settle. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the leaders, all of us have understood that the need for the hour, what was required then, was to build more resilient teams. I think that was the
Mm.
key necessary
Keyword,
for us to
absolutely.
be the resilient teams. Now, what do I mean by resilient team? A team which can work on their own, can take responsibility for their work, team who understand the problems of each other and are able to work together.
Mm.
So, in short, in summary, I would say this is the hour for self leadership. I think
Absolutely.
that's the key to it. That's how you
Mm.
build resilient teams. And we as leaders had to work towards building those resilient teams that's there. So, how did we do that? Or how did we go about it, trying to do it? I don't think all of us have achieved it, but then
Hmm.
we are making progress in that direction. So, how do you do it? Our strategy, especially in our company, the very first thing is to bring in that culture.
Right.
A cultural change was very necessary. It is not that each one has 8 hours of work and you do that work. Each one now have to complement each other. There could be personal problems at home one day. Somebody has to cover in for somebody, understand each other's problem, feel for them, and cover in for somebody today, and then other person covers you tomorrow. The better understanding, the better collaboration, that has to come when the company, the management tries to promote that culture. So that is
Mm.
what we have been communicating, trying to talk, make people aware that that's what you really necessary. That's the cultural change that we are trying to bring, because that is the key to that.
Mm.
The second is we have understood the strategy that the communication must be absolutely clear.
Clear.
We need
Right.
very clear communication. We don't
Hmm.
want anything to fall by the wayside or lost in translation. So it should be very clear communication. Not
Hmm.
always everything can be cleared verbally. So we
Hmm.
have put a mechanism in place. All meetings must be either through Teams or Zooms. It should be formal, structured, for the
Hmm.
reason that it can be recorded and referred back. Put
Hmm.
everything, what are the minutes of meeting, put that process up in whatever way possible, put a very clear process for clear communication, provide the necessary tools. That was a strategy also we adopted because that was necessary.
Hmm.
The third was setting the right expectation. What do we
Right.
expect from each other?
Excellent.
All of us personal problems. We have to
Absolutely.
recognize that. Okay, what do you expect? How do you work together? What are the team ground rules? When do we have the daily stand up, or do we have a coffee time? Have those expectations set so we know how to work. Because it's not like office. You turn your seat around and you have 10 people to talk, right? It's different. So, but then you have to set up that. So that was the third one.
Hmm.
The fourth one I will say is remote relationship building. That was a
Abs-
key aspect to it.
Very hard,
In,
but yes,
yeah,
it had to be
very
done.
hard. I don't think that we are successful yet, but we are trying our best, I will say.
Absolutely.
So the very first thing in a relationship building is to ensure that that person doesn't feel isolated. Because that's
Right.
a big problem. Then it plays on your mental health, everything, because you feel
That
isolated. You're not with
social
the team.
distancing, which people had
It's a
started
real problem.
promoting,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a real problem. Instead of social, it was supposed to be just physical distancing, not emotional and social distancing.
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
that whole thing was thrown apart, and then remote relationship just became so much harder to move forward with. Yeah. So then,
Correct.
how did you move about with that part of it,
So,
Ashish?
so the first thing we took care of the certain housekeeping issues.
Okay.
Ensure that they have proper infrastructure, have the furniture, have the right bandwidth. Even we have given power backups to make them feel comfortable or stable space. Some people did not have even a place. In India, in rural areas, there's not
Yeah.
much space, and there's the family, the parents, and everybody is there. So we have even gone to the extent of creating a separate workspace for them because we had to do it. You are important to us. It's not just giving that infrastructure, it's giving the message that you're important, that you're
You're
required.
important
We did a
and
lot of that.
value.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That was the first thing we did. Then the next thing is the health issue. We took care of their health needs. We have set up doctors on call because it's not easy to get doctors in pandemic time at the
Oh.
company expense. We've taken out the COVID insurance. We are providing for medical facilities so people don't get tense about when they get into a situation. We have tied up with different doctors all over South India. Well, most of our people are in South India, and there are doctors available. If they call, we contact them. We make the life easier. We've even organized for oxygen cylinders to be there, oxygen machines. So we did all that. We did spend money, but that I think that return on investment will be much higher. We felt that person
My
is.
Because you
important.
you made people in the organization feel supported and emotionally connected,
Absolutely.
and I think
Absolutely.
that is the key to us moving forward, to making sure that we are able to not only survive this pandemic but also grow in this pandemic, after this
Right.
post pandemic. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to those
Yeah. Right.
better
Yeah.
days, right?
Yeah.
So
And then,
Ashish, I
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
no,
Sorry.
I was just thinking, Ashish, that we have talked about three different aspects about the strategies that people have taken, especially from the mindset had to change. We also moved on to making more resilient teams. We have talked about relationship building as well as collaboration. So, what would be your one message to emerging leaders on how should they move forward in coming times?
I would say the key is be relevant in the market.
Absolutely.
Be relevant. Do
Hmm.
whatever is necessary. And relevant just not mean enriching with learning and development. That is very necessary, of course.
Right.
But
Yeah.
keep yourself relevant to it in whatever you do. Keep your goals in mind, what you want to achieve, change your action plan, and become relevant is my point. Do whatever is necessary to be relevant. Relevant could be for the individual, that person is relevant, the company is relevant, do whatever. It includes learning and development, working on those collaborative relationships, whatever is necessary. But yes, I am important, I am relevant.
And you brought it, actually brought it back to the key point that you started off with, your leadership style, which has become adaptive. In order to be adaptive, I mean, in order to remain relevant in these times, you have to be
Absolutely.
adapted.
Of
So,
course.
with that, Ashish, I am going to say thank you so much for being part of Leadership Talks first episode. This was an absolute pleasure talking to you. And I am sure that our leaders and emerging leaders have some new insights on how they can manage their teams and their organizations. Ashish, last few words for our viewers.
Thank you very much, Kiran, for having me. We are passing through difficult times. Obviously, human race has been affected. It's a sad situation. People are living life. There are health issues. But I still would like to say that it's a great opportunity for everybody. It's a great opportunity. There are so many opportunities. People can look at new avenues of way, new avenues of doing things, becoming more productive, becoming more relevant, because life is what is pushing us forward. We have to work towards it. We have situations in terms of the human race, what is happening. The government is doing its best. We are also trying to do our bit. But don't lose sight of the opportunity which is ahead, the light in front of us. Do whatever is necessary to be relevant. That's what I again say. Do whatever necessary, because front of us is a great opportunity. This is the time where we can transform ourselves and do what we didn't do before to remain that. So don't lose sight of the opportunity. Be relevant. Do whatever is necessary. I think we will come out great and successful. I think that's my message to all.
Thank you so much, Ashish. With that, thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to all the comments from our viewers about this talk show. Thank you
Thank
for
you very much,
joining.
Kiran. It was nice being here. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much.
Yeah. Thank you.